of affiliate growth. And then, for us to get to $1 billion in North America, it requires us to see the end path. We have to see the result. We have to see how we get there. If we can't envision it, there's no way to get there. All of us together have to see what that path looks like. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to show where the opportunities are. And then we're going to talk a little bit about product innovation that's coming in the next couple of years. But in order to do this, before we get into this presentation, you guys put your hands together and help me welcome to the stage a gal that I absolutely adore. She has spent so much of her career in beauty and skincare. And when I met her, brought her on, I worked with her at another direct sales company. The moment she came on, I was always like a little bit hesitant of individuals that didn't have direct sales experience. But she came in and immediately was able to build relationships with the leaders. She understood where the core of our business is, where the strength of our business is. And as she built those relationships, she was able to help them build and grow their businesses. This is Ricky Salvage. She's our Vice President of Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ricky Salvage.
Let's do it.
Okay, Ricky, you guys, how many of you recognize this tumbler on the screen? I don't know if it's showing right here. How many of you recognize this tumbler? I think Gretchen, raise your hand if you've got your Stanley mug.
Oh, there they are.
Ladies. Gretchen, I think, talked about this on a panel earlier. So Stanley Cup, these mugs, cups, these services, they've taken social media by storm. Here's the interesting thing. The Stanley brand has been around for over a century.
That's right. I recognize Stanley from their thermoses. This is what we take hot chocolate in to our football games, fishing, camping, and snowmobiling. And the army green color, that has been their brand since 1913. In fact, I would not be surprised if they started by making military supplies.
So recently, this tumbler has exploded, and the interesting part about it, it wasn't due to the company changing a marketing tactic. They didn't start advertising during the Super Bowl. They didn't even make any new innovative updates. Something magic happened.
That's right. There was a social group on Instagram known as the Buy Guide, and they fell in love with this cup. Now, in fact, it was one of the first items that the Buy Guide posted about in 2017, which was only 5 years ago.
However, when Stanley decided to discontinue, can you imagine, ladies, a world without your Stanley bucks? When they decided to discontinue the tumbler, the Buy Guide actually went to Stanley to see if they could purchase the mold. Stanley said no. Then they asked if they could purchase 5,000 units themselves at wholesale price, and they did.
And guess what happened? They sold out in 5 days. So they went back to Stanley and requested more colors. They knew if they could appeal to more of their target audience, something big could happen.
And guess what? Stanley said yes. They created a partnership, they expanded their colors, and started putting out limited time colors, which have all sold out for the past few years, literally in hours, maybe even minutes. Now, if you go and look, here's the challenge. If you guys go and look on some of these third-party selling websites, you will see that these Stanley cups that retail for $40 on their website, they're selling for $120 on other third-party websites.
That's right. That is exactly how much demand is out there for these simple little mugs that social media has taken by storm.
So the Stanley story is a good example of how things work in this new business environment. Leadership went to Stanley. They not only convinced the company to keep the product, but got Stanley to make the tumbler in more colors. The company believed in what the leadership was telling them.
And guess what? A partnership was formed. Now the magic comes down to this partnership. To trust from both leadership and the company. Now the new skin story isn't much different. It's the story of a brand that's been around for 30 years.
With a partnership from sales leaders and the company built on trust that has resulted in incredible growth over the past few years. I dare say this trust is at an all-time high. Now that doesn't mean we don't have areas to fix. We can always get better with inventory management, shipping, customer service. However, overall, I think we're doing pretty well.
Yep. Now leaders will call myself and they'll call Buck and they say, guess what? We can sell X. We can sell this product. Then we go back and make sure we have enough. And then you guys, the field, you guys are engaged selling it and building with your teams. This is similar to what we've seen over the last couple of years with Stanley. We're experiencing that same type of magic here at Nu Skin by partnering with all of you.
So here's the question. What will it take for us to get to the next level of growth? We continually set goals around achieving $1 billion in sales. Literally, I think we've been saying that for a decade. But how will we really reach that goal?
The truth is, if we can't really visualize it, we won't get there. The answer, it comes down to this partnership. It comes down to trust and working together and knowing where our targets are.
So let's visualize together. What makes $1 billion? There are two options. Next slide. We can grow sales or we can grow affiliates. So we can say if we had 20,000 affiliates selling $4,000 a month, that would equal $960 million in 12 months. Okay, 20,000 affiliates selling $4,000 a month, 960. That's roughly $1 billion.
Or we could have 40,000 affiliates selling $2,000 a month, which is almost $1 billion in a year. Is the answer more affiliates or is it more sales?
Let me ask you guys, how many of you guys think the answer is more affiliates? I just want to see. How many of you say it's more sales? Okay, truthfully, it's probably a combination of both, Julie. It's probably a combination of both. So how are we going to grow? We see here the numbers of affiliates and the average sales per affiliate over the last 10 years. Oh, this isn't 10 years, this is the last couple of years. And we've seen some great growth. But where are now the opportunities for us? Have we exhausted our markets?
Well, we have to ask ourselves this as a company. Where do we need to be to see growth? Like Buck said, have we exhausted our current markets? Do we have more room with our current geography, current demographics, and current customers? Where can we expand? Let's talk about each of these in detail.
Okay, so please know as we look at these numbers, I want you to ask yourself, what does growth look like for my team, for my organization? Do I need to increase my geographic or demographic footprint?
Do I need to increase the number of affiliates on my team?
Or do I need to increase the average sales per affiliate? What does that look like for you? And more importantly, how are you going to get there? In the United States, let's bring up the United States. There are 330 million people in the United States. 0.0054% of those 330 million people are a part of the Nu Skin family as paid active affiliates. Let me say that one more time. 0.0054% are active paid affiliates. That's roughly 5 affiliates for every 100,000 people. As you can see, there are many more to talk to and share Nu Skin with. Now imagine if we had 1% of the US. That would be 3.3 million affiliates. Who could handle that many affiliates on their team? Imagine if we had 0.01% of the market. That would be 33,000 paid affiliates. What would our business look like? How different would it be with even 0.01% of the market?
Now, Buck, we can't just talk about US.
Yes, no, you're right.
We gotta talk about Canada, am I right? Woo! That's right. Because we're not getting to $1 billion just in the US. We're doing it in North America. That is US and Canada. And we have over 40 million people who live in Canada. Now for Nu Skin, that's 0.0068% of these 40 million people are a part of our Nu Skin family as paid active affiliates. That means we have 6.8 people for every 100,000 in Canada. Again, imagine if we had 1% of the market in Canada, that would be 400,000 paid active affiliates, or even 0.01% of the market. That would be 4,000 paid affiliates. We haven't reached the capacity and numbers of people we can reach. In sheer terms of numbers, we have a long ways to go.
But let's dive in a little bit deeper.
All right.
And look at other potential opportunities. We have massive opportunities just in specific geography alone. We have to take a look at Ontario.
Let's look at
Ontario.
That's right. In the province of Ontario. There's a lot of people here from Ontario. We have. Do that again. That was good. Okay. There are 15 million people in Ontario, and we have 0.0075% of the Ontario market. That is only 7.5 people for every 100,000. Again, what would your teams look like if we have 1% of the market? That would be 150,000 paid affiliates in Ontario alone.
Now jumping back to the US, let's take a look at California. Anyone from California here? 40 million people live in California. Nu Skin's only reached 0.0079% of the market. That's almost 8 affiliates per every 100,000 people. 8! If we were able to reach 1% of California alone, what would that look like? 400,000 paid active affiliates in just California.
All right, this is fun. Let's keep going. We see a similar story in Quebec. This is where a lot of our French-speaking friends live, right? 9 million people live in Quebec, and we've only reached 0.002% of these 9 million people. So that's 2 people for every 100,000 in Quebec. So again, what would our business look like with 0.01% of the Quebec market? That would be 9,000 paid active affiliates.
And I have to say, you guys, one of our top selling affiliates in all of North America, she lives right here in Quebec. It is
Sophie
Morin. Where's Sophie? Sophie,
She
right
here? She's here somewhere, I know she is. But she can't understand me because she doesn't speak English. She
Okay.
speaks French only.
Let's take a look at Texas. Texas is another state where we see massive amounts of opportunity. How does it go?
Yeehaw.
No, it goes, how does the thing go? The moon is bright, the stars are bright, deep in the heart of Texas. Okay.
I thought it was all my exes live in Texas.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, okay.
30 million people live in Texas, and how many of those 30 million people are associated with Nu Skin? It's 0.007%. That's 7 for every 100,000 people in the state of Texas. Think 1%, 0.01%. It's crazy.
All right, let's talk about beautiful British Columbia. We have 5 million people in BC, and we only have 0.02% of active paid affiliates. 2 people for every 10,000 in British Columbia. Again, what would it look like with 1%? 0.05%. The possibilities are simply endless.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk Florida. Do we have anyone from Florida here? Chris! So here we go. Sunny Florida is full of potential. 22 million people live in Florida. From the Panhandle to the sandy beaches, there's only 0.004% of the 22 million who are active paid affiliates. That's 4 people for every 100,000 people in Florida. What happens if we expand our vision? What happens if we expand the opportunity? It's massive.
Now, we definitely have some room to grow. Would anyone agree? All right, but it goes deeper than geography and population. We also see lots of opportunities in culture. We mentioned Quebec in terms of geography, but we have over almost 8 million French-speaking Canadians in Canada, which is 20% of our population. If we had just 1% of the French-speaking Canadian market, that would be an additional 72 2,000 affiliates. 0.1% is 7,200. 0.01% is 720 affiliates. What would your team look like with an additional 720 affiliates? Would that make a difference?
So here's another really big demographic that we have in the United States. In fact, I dare say, if you look at all of the Latin America markets, if we said pulled together all the Spanish-speaking Americans, it would be the biggest Spanish-speaking country in the entire world. Right here, there are 62 million Spanish-speaking Americans. Spanish-speaking Americans have traditionally been drawn to the direct sales industry because of the opportunity. 18% of the US population speaks Spanish, but 22% of those in direct sales are Spanish-speaking. So you can see that direct sales index is higher than the US population for Spanish-speaking. Imagine for a moment what 1% of the 62 million Spanish-speaking Americans would look like for Nu Skin. We're not touching this. We're barely scratching the surface with our Spanish-speaking friends here in the United States.
That's right. Okay, so we talked about geography, we talked about cultures. Now let's talk about the millennial generation. We have a big opportunity here. Now, 61% of the millennial generation, guys, they're open to opportunity. Millennials are more interested in flexibility and fulfilling work opportunities compared to earlier generations. Like Brian talked about yesterday with that gig economy, the Uber drivers, those freelancers, social sellers, and direct sellers, they serve both a consumer and a business builder.
So how do we share Nu Skin opportunity with a generation of people who want flexibility, who want opportunity, who crave belonging? Can you see? The market's there. The pathway to 1 billion is there. The potential is there. As your general manager, we believe if we decrease the distractions,
if we took away the roadblocks like customer service issues, like shipping issues, or back orders,
if we increase the speed at which you can sell,
if we make the systems easier that function better,
if we allow you to spend more time selling rather than focusing on shipping or fulfillment, we believe we will empower you to get to $1 billion.
Now, that's right, give it up. But this will not happen overnight. But we are working on plans to make your roles easier than ever before.
There's one critical piece. We need the right products. This year we've had amazing products that have launched. Wouldn't you agree? Products that have been, I dare say, easier to sell today than ever before, faster than ever before with retail profits. Now, I wanted you to see all of the opportunity we have in the United States because I believe a core principle of leadership is abundance mindset. Seeing what there is. Do not be closed off. There is no competition in this room. We are not competing with each other. We are here to build together towards $1 billion. There's no reason, you guys, there is no reason in the United States or Canada to ever be worried about competition. We are not there yet. If there comes a time when there is competition, I will tell you, I promise, but it's not there yet. Build together. Okay, and as we do this, we can get to where we need to be. We're going to be rolling out some amazing products that you can believe in, products that work, products that customers need, products that customers will love. In order to share those products with you, I have invited our new head of sales in North America. This is a new change.
Head of marketing.
Excuse me.
You almost didn't get your job up.
I almost just fired myself. She would do a much better job.
She would do great.
This is our new head of marketing in North America. Please put your hands together and give a warm round of applause and a congratulations to Kathy Schultz.